Let's talk about how you can ease period pain and bloating, as well as when you should seek medical advice. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 of my very own top tips that I generally share with all my patients who are having problems with period pain and the bloating. Best of all of these tips you can do straight away from home. So let's begin. Stress tip number one, and it's all about applying heat to your lower back or your tummy area, okay? In terms of what you can use for heat, you can either use a wheat bag, you can use a hot water bottle, or even a heat patch, all right? This heat is basically going to promote circulation, so promote the blood flow, which is all going to help with the cramping and period pain. It can be really effective, this one, and we all pretty much have something at home that we can use for it. I actually had a patient who once told me a really good idea for this, because they didn't have a wheat bag or a hot water bottle or heat patches, and they basically got an old pillowcase, and they filled it with dry rice, like uncooked rice. So they filled it with that, made it into like a sausage shape almost, and then they just rolled it over on itself. They didn't sew it or anything like that, and they put it in the microwave, all right? They put it in the microwave, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 seconds, you can figure it out. And the rice retains the heat, just like a wheat bag does, basically, okay? So if you don't have any of them at home, that's a quick DIY solution for everyone, and thank you to that patient who shared that with me. Stress tip number two, gentle exercise. I know what you're thinking, you're in a lot of pain, this is probably the last thing on your mind, but honestly, these natural endorphins that will get released from, you know, just some stretches or some yoga or even a very light walk, they can be so good at helping with the period pain and even the cramping, all right? These natural endorphins, you know, don't look at them as something like, oh, mediocre, because they can be really helpful. Moving on to tip number three, run yourself a nice hot bath, okay? And relax. If you can, add some essential oils like lavender or eucalyptus oil. The hot bath basically is going to help relax it, it's going to help with blood flow, and all of this is really going to help with that cramping and period pain. Also, these essential oils are well known for their relaxing properties as well, and it's going to reduce our stress internally and potentially reduce our cortisol levels a bit as well, which is all going to help. I'm moving swiftly on to tip number four. I really hope my girlfriend doesn't mind me sharing this, but whenever my girlfriend's having a period, she asks me for a massage, okay? So ask your partner for a massage, okay, or a friend for a massage. Just a gentle circular rubbing motion around your lower back, on your tummy, can be really helpful, and it's going to help blood flow, it's going to help relax us. Also, just by getting a massage, you're going to release something called oxytocin, and this basically is going to relax us more, which is all in all going to help with that period pain. Stress tip number five, after you've had your massage or your warm bath or your warm shower and you're nice and relaxed, treat yourself to a short nap. It can be 20-30 minutes, and this is going to be really helpful at helping reduce the pain further. Why is this? Well, it's basically because your body's got a high level of cortisol, and by having a short nap, it's going to help lower the level of cortisol naturally, and all of this is going to help with that period pain. And straight on to tip number six, painkillers can be an option as well. Look, if these options that we've spoken about so far, they're not being that effective, then potentially painkillers like paracetamol and ibuprofen, you can use them in combination. They're basically going to reduce prostaglandin production, and that's basically one of the things that's causing all this cramping and pain, all right? So do speak to your medical provider to make sure that it's safe and suitable for you to use these medicines, but they are an effective solution. Moving on to tips 7 and 10. Next up, I want to talk about bloating solutions, all right? I'm going to tell you a little story about a patient of mine who I had. And she would always have period pain, okay, every month, and she had a little routine that she would do, that during the time of a period she would drink lots of Coca-Cola, and also every single day she would eat about a jar's worth of pickled cucumbers, all right? If anyone's having a jar's worth of pickled cucumbers and loads of Coca-Cola, you're probably going to feel unwell. But the reason I'm telling you this story is diet plays a really important factor in terms of the bloating that we get from periods, and also your period pain as well. And I'm going to go through that in a bit more detail, but I really want you to think about what you're eating and what you're doing during your period as well, because you might be doing something in auto drive almost and not realizing that that could be contributing to it. So let's go into more detail. So the first thing you need to do is stay hydrated, okay? So in the example of my patient drinking lots of Coca-Cola, stay away from sugary fizzy drinks and stay away from alcohol. These are naturally going to dehydrate you, okay? And if you're dehydrated, that is going to make the bloating worse, all right? So just stick to water, stick to some nice green tea or something relaxing like that. That is really going to help with the bloating. And tip number 8, eat plenty of fruit and vegetables, okay? We want to increase our fiber, really. We want to avoid constipation. The fiber is basically going to retain the water and help all the food move through our gut. What we don't want to be doing is snacking on sugary treats and stuff like that. That basically is going to make our constipation potentially worse, and it's going to make the bloating worse. So eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. Trust me, it can make a really big difference. And tip number 9 is all about cutting down on salt, okay? Remember the pickled cucumbers that we spoke about earlier? They are loaded with salt, okay? I've even had patients who have had really high blood pressure because they've had a jar of pickled cucumbers, all right? They're loaded in salt. What else is loaded in salt? Well, you know, potato chips can be loaded in salt, ready meals can be, certain ramen can be, all this sort of stuff is loaded in salt, and salt basically causes water retention, and that water retention is going to make our bloating worse. So really think about the amount of salt that you're having and try and cut down, especially during the time of your period if you suffer with bloating. And tip number 10, it's all about quitting smoking. Of course, if you do smoke, you really need to quit, all right? If you smoke, it means that your red blood cells can't carry as much oxygen, which basically causes more pain, more bloating during your period, all right? Smoking also affects how your body regulates its hormones, which again can cause more pain and bloating in your period. So if you do smoke, you really do need to try and quit. Apart from just the period and bloating pain that you're getting, it also causes all these other problems: cardiovascular disease, cancer risk, everything that I'm sure you all know about. If you want more information on quitting smoking, we do have videos on the topic, and also I'll leave some links in the description too. Now imagine being able to live without having to dread period pain every single month. For 9 in 10 female patients, period pain is unfortunately a harsh reality. Oh, and by the way, over half of those patients don't really find relief from standard painkillers. And that's exactly why Daye created the Period and Pelvic Pain Clinic, because you really do deserve more than just having to power through your pain. Their science-backed solutions are designed by women for women who have been told for too long that's just part of being a woman. So the Period and Pelvic Pain Clinic, it starts off with a simple questionnaire about your experience. You'll then receive a report based on clinical guidelines, followed by an empathetic, detailed 30-minute consultation with a nurse specialist who's there to listen. And together, you'll create a personalized plan tailored to your body and your lifestyle, because your pain is real, your concerns are valid, and relief is possible in a judgment-free space. So don't let another month just go wondering, well, it's just normal, that's how it's meant to be. Book your free consultation today using my code AbrahamPPPC and take the first steps towards the relief that you really deserve. Link in the description below. Daye, thank you for being our trusted sponsor. Now, when it comes to period pain, some of my patients do find it very painful. So in this part of the video, I just wanted to firstly say thank you for watching so far in, okay? But I really wanted to show you a few preventative measures as well that I generally offer my patients, and it would be a good idea to speak to your own medical provider about these if you do think that you are someone that has really painful periods and you're thinking about preventative tips. So let's go through them. So the first option is hormonal contraceptives, or IUDs, okay? These will basically help with the period pain by thinning the uterine lining and also reducing the amount of prostaglandins, which basically causing a lot more pain, all right? These can be really helpful. So if you think this is a good idea for you, please do speak to your medical provider about it so they can go through the side effects and the risks and the benefits and everything like that. And the second option I'd like to discuss is if your periods are really heavy, your medical provider might think about prescribing you something like tranexamic acid, which is basically a clotting agent, and it's going to basically reduce the flow and the heaviness of your periods, which is all in all going to help again with the pain and the bloating as well. So again, if you think these might be helpful for you, speak to your medical provider about them. I'm sure they'll be happy to have these conversations. So this video is already becoming very long, and I really do appreciate you taking the time out to watch this video. I really do hope that my tips were helpful. If you know anyone that suffers with period pain or bloating, please do send them this video as well and share that knowledge with them. I love doing this. I love sharing information with people, and also it's important to remember there are times as well when you should seek medical advice for period pain and bloating. So I'm going to leave loads more information in the description below. Please do read it. And as always, sending awesome vibes. I'll see you next week. All right, let's get started. Pickled gherkins. That's what we call them in the UK. 'Tis the season to be jolly, tra-la-la-la-la-la. Reducing salty foods, like ready meals, like potato chips, potato crisps. I can't speak today. Oh, we're filming.